Stories. Weird stories. Murders, too. Turn out your lights. Turn them out.
Good evening. Come in, won't you? What's the matter? Surely you're not nervous. Perhaps it will calm if I tell you a story.
We are meant to call from out of the past stories, strange and weird.
Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre.
Stories of the supernatural, the supernormal, dramatizing the fantasy, the mystery, the unknown. We tell you this frankly, so if you wish to avoid the excitement and tension of these imaginary plays, we urge you, calmly and sincerely, to turn off your radio now.
Welcome back to The Horror. Thanks for joining me this Saturday. We'll hear this week from Fantasy, a series that may consist of only this episode. It's the audition episode of the series. I don't know that any ever followed it, but it aired August 23rd, 1947. The episode is titled Entity from the Void. Here's Fantasy.
Frank Theron presents Fantasy.
Out of the slime of creation he crawled, to force a wavering path through fetid jungle, until his footsteps echoed through his own self-made canyons, whereupon he dared to face eternity and call himself man. Look within yourself, O mind of man. Of what worth are your fleeting impressions? What philosophy dares decide between the real and the unreal, the true and the false, without thought to the strange happenings in the universe? A caution to your puny wisdom, O mind of man. Do you dare to say that this is truth and that is fantasy?
Quite obviously, it's time for the sponsor's opening commercial message. So, in the absence of said sponsor, we will use this space to tell you about Fantasy. Our message is short. As you consider this program, bear 2 points in mind. One, Fantasy has the same high listener appeal as that enjoyed by the current cycle of murder mysteries without the objectionable qualities of the murder mystery. Two, Fantasy offers a source of radio material virtually untapped since Orson Welles skyrocketed to fame with his Men from Mars. But don't misunderstand. Fantasy is not a series dependent on the space void. For fantasy can happen in your own backyard. And now, as you listen to our story, we ask that you decide for yourself. Is it truth or is it fantasy? Listen to Entity from the Void.
Hello, darling.
Father, you old sweet. Did you come to have a glass of punch with me?
I did indeed. Why aren't you dancing, dear?
I did earlier. Oh, I'd love to dance. Fred.
Oh, he's drunk again.
He's been very drunk
Oh,
for 2 hours.
Look, darling, again I ask, why don't you divorce Fred? After all, there can't be much left.
There's nothing left. But marriage meant so much to me, Father. It was a new life, a useful life. Children, a home to me.
Oh, my child, you can marry again.
Perhaps. But you see, Father, there's no one else. Think I'll hang on to my frayed threads a while.
Very well, my dear. Well, I'll run along. I'm playing cards with Carl. Bye, darling.
Be careful, Plunger.
Nada,
Hello. Oh.
you love to dance. Will you dance with me?
I don't think we've met.
Does that matter so much? We might still enjoy dancing together.
Yes, we might. Very well. Do you hear a strange sound?
I hear intriguing music. Shall we go to the dance floor?
Why hasn't someone introduced us earlier?
I was not here.
Oh, then you came late.
No, I was near you. I've been near you often.
You have? I don't understand.
I swam in the surf with you yesterday.
Yesterday? Now I know you're having fun with me. I swam alone.
Yes, out to the old breakwater. I was there when you tore your swimming clothes on the rusty nail.
You saw that? How terrible of you. I was mortified, even though I was alone. But you couldn't have been there. I would have seen you.
It's no fault of yours. I did not let you see me.
Who are you? What is your name?
Is a name of any importance? Isn't it pleasant just to be together? Dancing, talking.
How strangely persuasive you are. Yes, I admit it. I find it pleasant.
Now I am happy. Now I feel that I can say more to you.
Let's step out on the terrace. Now I want you to tell me where did he go? How strange. Seems almost as though he disappeared.
Well, here you are, darling.
Oh, Fred.
Oh, Fred. Yes, dear. Your husband. Is anything wrong with that?
Please, Fred.
Please, Fred. Please, Fred. I've been looking all over for you. I want to dance. Everybody dancing. I want to dance, too.
Fred, please. Fred, you're hurting my arm.
Oh, now, don't start crying again. I want to talk to you.
I'll talk to you when you're sober. I'm going to walk on the beach.
Nada, darling.
Oh, Father. I didn't hear you come.
You were too busy with your tears, dear. I saw you come out here to the beach, so I followed. Tell me about it.
Oh, nothing, Father, really. Fred, he just tried to kiss me. And after all, he is my husband.
My dear, I know that your loyalty is badly misplaced. You're chained to a besotted fool, and I'll not stand by any longer.
But there must be something we can do for him.
Perhaps a good punch in the jaw, which I would like to administer personally.
Now you're giving away to your feelings, Father. If we could get him away from liquor
Wait.
for a while.
My Southern Queen is sailing for Rio in 3 days, carrying steel plates for me. The ship has accommodation for 24 passengers. It's quite comfortable, carries a doctor and an excellent chef, but no bar.
Oh, Father, you darling, I'd like to try it. If I could keep Fred sober for 2 weeks, it might just be enough to bring him back to reason.
Well, I'll arrange it in the morning. Now, how about drying your eyes and coming back to the party?
In a moment. Father, did you see the man I danced with just after you left me?
Why, no, dear. I went to play bridge.
I'm sorry. I wanted at least to know his name.
Well, what did he look like? Describe him. I can probably name him.
Well, he was tall, with wonderful shoulders and crisp brown hair with just a little bit of a wave in it. And the bluest eyes I've ever seen. And there was a cleft in his chin. And...
Oh, darling, how many fillings in his teeth. You certainly looked this young man over.
Oh, Father, I didn't really.
I don't recognize this paragon. I'm sorry, dear.
Well, it doesn't really matter. But at least I would have liked to know his name. He was strange. Strange. I had an odd feeling of godliness.
Well, now, dear, after 3 days, this cruise begins to look a little better. Martini?
Fred, where did you get the liquor?
I had it in my steamer trunk. Excellent martinis. You sure you care for one, darling?
Really, no.
Martinis are a boon to mankind. I should like to soliloquize or write a poem to them. Unfortunately, I can never think of words that rhyme. However, if I do not have the pen, I do have the soul of a poet. Don't you think I have the soul of a poet, Nada? Really, now?
Please, Fred. I'd rather you didn't put your arm around me now.
My dear child, may I point out that drunk or sober, I'm still your husband.
And you're doing an excellent job of bringing that to an end.
Really? My little chickadee planning to fly her nest? I don't think I would.
And why not?
Because I'll simply take it upon myself to make your life as miserable as a life could be from then on.
How hateful you can be.
Darling, you've no idea. You're quite sure you don't want a martini? No? Well, then I'll drink it myself. Nectar of the gods, solace of the lonely, companion of the dead.
Fred, I'm going to take a walk on deck. Don't you want to come with me?
Of course I don't want to come with you. In the first place, it's blowing some weather. And in the second place, all I want of this miserable tub is a view of Rio Harbor as soon as possible. Then I shall take a plane home.
I'm sorry we came. I had hoped that...
Oh, well, I'm sure the whole cruise was an idea of that stupid parent of yours.
Please, we'll have nothing to say about my father.
And why not? He's a dull businessman. And I suspect an interfering busybody.
I notice you don't hesitate to spend his money.
Why should I? He has plenty of it. You don't think the only attractive thing about you was your beauty, do you, darling?
Fred, stop it. Stop it at once. Please try to retain some of the manners of a gentleman.
Gentleman? Why, I'm the perfect gentleman. All the society columns say that. Now, you'll notice the cut of my shoe. Of course, it's bought with your father's money, the ass.
That's enough.
Leaving so soon, my dear?
I'm going on deck.
Oh, it's very foolish of you. You might be blown over the rail and get very drowned.
That might be just what I want, Fred. Fred, please, Fred.
Slap me, will you? I'll show you. I'll take you down a peg or two.
Strange light in the sky. That light! That terrible light!
Nada.
That terrible light! The strange sound!
Nada, please. Do not be afraid. Only trust me.
Who are you? Where did you come from? What manner of strange creature are you to come out of the sky?
Nada, look at me. Look into my eyes. There you will see that you have nothing to fear.
You were frightening. But now
Yes, now you are happy, as you were when we danced. That is as it should be. Nada,
Tell me.
I understand, but believe me, I mean for you only the greatest of good. I am not of your world, Nada. I am an entity out of the void.
The second act of fantasy in just a moment. While tonight's fantasy is an original, It is our plan to also do radio adaptations from the pens of the greats, for most have had a go at fantasy. To mention but a few, Edgar Allan Poe, Ernest Hemingway, Louis Bromfield, Ben Hecht, Stephen Benet, Mary Roberts Reinhardt, Dorothy Parker, William Saroyan, W. Somerset Maugham, John Steinbeck, and many others. Available to adapt this vast source of fantasy are Hobart Donovan, whose work is so notably presented tonight, and radio's well-known Leslie Edgley, who is currently presenting 4 Inner Sanctum novels. And now, let us return to Entity from the Void.
What is truth? And what is fantasy? A lonely girl, a fog-bound ship in mid-ocean, and the mind-shattering appearance of a godlike creature. Is this fantasy? Or the strange, strange story which he had for lovely Nada? Was this perhaps truth?
An entity out of the void. What a frightening thought.
I am called Thur, and my world was called Kor.
Sir, and from a world called Kor. This is so hard to understand.
Patience, my dear, and you will understand. Kor was a planet in the 5th galaxy beyond this. My world has been destroyed for 1,000 years, yet the light from it still shines upon your Earth, for the distance is so great that 2,000 light years are required to bring its glow this far.
These things you tell me, they're staggering. My mind, it's in a whirl.
But you believe me?
Oddly, I do believe you.
My people, though much like the people of your Earth, far surpassed you in intellect. And yet, our science, our culture, our developments of all kinds were of no use when the end came. The end of a tired, worn-out planet. I alone survived, for I alone was given the power.
It is frightening, and it's unbelievable.
Nada, it is frightening and unbelievable only because your mind is bound by the conventions of an unbelieving world. Let me show you my story.
Please do. Tell me your story.
Show you my story, Nada. Hold my hands. So. Now clear your mind of all thought. Clear it. I will help you.
I cannot. One's mind continues to function. The thought processes go on.
Clear your mind. Refuse your mind the privilege of thinking. I help you now. Think only as I tell you. See now a great hall, a hall of science, a hall wherein are gathered the greatest minds in the whole universe. See them, handsome men, some young, some gray-bearded. Think, wish.
Oh, there's Scar now. Here comes Scar. He'll know.
Men of Kor! I beg your indulgence for having kept you waiting. Will someone report any further progress? Raga, you are in charge of ministry.
I have little to report, Gar.
Ah, yes. A pitiful shell, this planet of ours. No longer capable of producing even the simplest needs of science.
We have gone a step further in the disintegration and reassembly of matter. It would be simple to transport every person on Kor to another planet in a matter of seconds. But first, we must have a station and a power plant on the newly selected world.
And that is impossible?
Quite impossible, Gar.
Then my solution is the only one. though it presages death to Kor and the people of Kor. My friends, it is inevitable that we die, for I tell you this, that already has the breakup of our planetary mass begun. Within 12 nods, our world will have disintegrated, and all upon it will be dead.
Oh, no.
Wait! Wait. We must not let die what we have accomplished. We must preserve our sciences, our arts, our cultural advantages. I can send one man to another world. I am ready to teach one man the secret of the free entity.
There's one man.
To one man can I give the ability to free himself from his mortal body, and as a free will, a free entity, he can roam the universe with a thought and settle where he will.
Men of Kor, if we are to send abroad our science, then I say that Gar himself is the one to go.
Yes,
Hold! Hold! The severance of the free will from the body will bring about shock of tremendous proportions. We need a young, strong man whose intellect is as well developed as his body. I call upon the young man. Sir.
I am here, Gar.
Then step forward. Sir. There is grave danger for you in this transmigration. You have the courage?
I am ready.
Then join hands with me and clear your mind of all thoughts. I will give you the power by impression, the more quickly to accomplish the freeing of your entity. When your mind is cleared, tell me.
Begin.
Burning light. Her is dead.
I do not believe so. Wait. Sir! Sir!
I am safe, Gar.
Describe for us your surroundings, your emotions. Where are you?
I am in this room. Yet I am gone from our world. I am in the void. I have the feeling of being everywhere. I move 1 billion miles with a thought. I have no emotion, only a feeling of tremendous power.
It is a success. The transmigration of the will from the prison of a body to free entity.
What is that sound?
It is the crashing of disintegration. Our world is breaking up.
I hear you, Gar.
Go quickly. Lest in the coming cataclysm you will be drawn from your free entity to the husk of your body and consumed with us. Quickly! You have your vision. Go!
I go, Gar. Courage, men of Kor. And thus it has been, my Nada. For 1,000 years, I have searched for a world to give the science and culture of Kor.
And a wonderful story. And I have no doubt now, sir, of your wonderful powers. Then you will give these great powers, these sciences and this culture of Kor to our world, to the earth.
No, my Nada.
No, but you said
I said I searched for a world. I examined the planet you call Venus and which we call Mech. The great monsters which people this place, the horrid things still crawling in the steaming slime, have millions of years ahead of them before they'll reach even a remote stage of intelligence. And the hairy creatures who scuttle about on 6 ugly legs, and the great ball you have named Jupiter, are intelligent enough, but the arts and sciences of core are best suited to erase our physical proportions.
But then, this world of mine, why do you not give these things to us?
My Nada, on this earth, I have found only greed and selfishness and destruction. Man is pitted against man in hatred and lust. Were my powers given to him, man on this earth would destroy himself and his world.
I understand. Then you must go on searching.
No. No, in finding you, my search is completed. I have a plan. Far out in space, beyond this galaxy, I have come upon a perfect world. It is verdant and beautiful. You would call it paradise. No harmful being exists upon it, from the tiniest creature to the largest. Each one is gentle and kindly. My new world wants only man.
You have more to say, sir.
In your Christian belief, one man and one woman gave life to this earth.
Yes, that is our common belief.
Then why cannot one man and one woman give life to my new world? My Nada, only you have measured up to the standards I have set. In your nobility of thought, your gentleness, your loyalty, your goodness, and your beauty. Come with me.
How amazing and beautiful. A new race, a new beginning for mankind. Oh, sir, how glorious.
My Nada, with all the great powers at my command, I find that none is great enough to conquer the gentlest of all emotions. I find myself completely and utterly in love with you.
I know. And I love you, sir.
My darling.
Why did I let... Oh, sir, please.
My Nada, what is wrong?
Sir, I am already given to a man. I cannot even think
The
of...
weakling, the dissipate? Oh, you hate him. I know this. Forget him.
I cannot. Since childhood, marriage has been sacred to me. I cannot break a vow. In sickness and in death, for better or worse. No, sir.
Without you, my power is worthless to me.
Sir, if you love me, perhaps you could find among your great powers a way to strengthen my husband against his weaknesses.
Of course, I could do so with a thought.
Then will you, for me? My dear one, there can be nothing else.
Very well, my Nada. Let me bring him to mind. A moment. So, Nada, your husband is no longer a problem. Come, let us go to your cabin.
Oh, he's sleeping. Let me wake him. Fred. Fred.
Your husband is not sleeping, my Nada. He's dead.
Fred. Oh, no.
I am sorry, my dear.
But why did he die?
I have no answer to that.
Strange. I feel little emotion. I feel no sorrow. Only pity. Pity for the pathetic wastrel whose unhappy life I shared. But I do feel some emotion. It is hateful of me, but I cannot conquer it. I feel a sense of elation.
Perhaps, my Nada, at the thought that there is no longer a barrier between us.
There is no longer a barrier between us.
You will go with me.
I will go with you to the end of the universe.
There is grave danger, Nada, for you. First, we must bring about the freedom of your entity. We must unshackle your will from your body. In that, there is danger.
I am ready.
Join hands with me. So, now, clear your mind of all thought. I will help you. Look into my mind. Try. Try hard.
I will try.
Soon your mind will clear of all thought. Only the thought to tell me when to begin the transmigration.
Yes.
Gosh, what a terrible thing. That girl's father is the owner of this ship. She and her husband here are socially prominent. Doctor, what killed him?
Captain, this man died of acute alcoholism. I saw him at dinner in the salon, and already the signs were there.
But Mrs. Westgate and this stranger, whoever he is, what killed them? You're the ship's doctor. You must find out.
I have no idea. There are no marks of violence. And see their faces. Captain, they are supremely happy in death.
One of these love pacts. This will be a terrible scandal.
Somehow I don't believe it was a suicide pact. Captain, they have been dead less than half an hour. We know that. And yet these two bodies are cold. Strangely cold. Why, it is comparable only to what is called absolute cold. The cold of the space void.
In just a moment, we will tell you about our fantasy for next week. We really have little to say at this point, but this is a commercial space, and we have to fill it. You've heard fantasy. You either like it or you don't like it. We hope you do.
That's the horror for this week. Hope you enjoyed our show today. You can find more from the horror at relicradio.com alongside thousands of other old-time radio episodes and everything else Relic Radio. If you'd like to help support this and all of the shows, help keep these shows coming to you every week, give that donate button a click or visit donate.relicradio.com. Your support makes it all possible. My thanks as always to those who have helped out. Thanks for joining me today. Talk again next Saturday with another episode of The Horror.
Strange Tales.
RelicRadio.com presents tales of the strange and bizarre, the weird and the wicked. Stories not necessarily of the supernatural, but of the unnatural. Join us now for Strange Tales, featuring radio drama at its most mysterious and unusual. This is Strange Tales. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me this Sunday. We'll hear from The Mysterious Traveler this week, a mutual series that aired from December 5th, 1943 to September of 1952, produced over 300 episodes. Our story today is I Died Last Night. This one aired April 25th, 1950.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents The Mysterious Traveler, written, produced, and directed by Robert A. Arthur and David Kogan, and starring tonight two of radio's foremost personalities, Eric Dressler and Brett Morrison, in I Died Last Night.
This is the Mysterious Traveler, inviting you to join me on another journey into the realm of the strange and the terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, that it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves, and be comfortable, if you can. For tonight, our journey is one such as no living man ever took before. We're going to accompany a gentleman named Gregory Raymond across the very threshold of existence into another world. It's a story I call I Died Last Night. My friend, Mr. Gregory Raymond, who is going to tell you of his strange experience, is a man of middle age with bushy gray hair and the nervous intensity of one who's concentrated his whole life upon a single absorbing interest. As he proceeds with his tale, please overlook the inconsequential fact that he's dead.
My name is Gregory Raymond, and it is perfectly true that all my life I was concentrated upon a single interest, the study of death and what comes after it. Even from boyhood, that one interest absorbed me. I made 1,000 efforts to penetrate the baffling veil that separates life from death, to effect communication with those on the other side of the dark curtain. And in this effort, I had no success until I met that man of great wisdom from the East, the Yogi Krishna. Then I knew I'd found the teacher I needed. I studied daily for months with Krishna and his other pupils. I devoted my entire fortune to the project. And we were just on the brink of success when one evening the yogi kept me with him after the others had left.
My friend Gregory, it is necessary that you and I should talk.
Of course, Yogi. You seem troubled.
I am, Gregory. We have come close to success in our studies here, have we not?
Closer than I ever dared hope we would. If now we could only tear away the last veil of ignorance that separates us from the truth. If we could only see through to the other side of the wall of death.
Patience, my friend. Death is a subject that has engrossed man's mind for 1,000,000 years. We cannot expect to solve its dark mysteries in a few months.
No, of course not, but I've spent a lifetime trying, and I suppose I'm a little impatient.
I, too, have spent a lifetime just preparing to make the study. And now that success is in sight, it grieves me to say that we must discontinue our studies.
Discontinue them? Just when we were getting somewhere? Why, no, we can't.
We have no choice.
But why? Why must we stop now when we're so close?
For the simplest reason in the world. We lack the money to continue.
Oh, money. Is that the trouble?
We need trained assistants, scientific instruments, many things to aid us. All this requires money, and we do not have it.
Well, how much?
Many thousands. $100,000, perhaps.
100,000. It's a lot. But we'll get it. We have to.
Alas, my friend, I do not know where.
Listen. My brother, John, is a rich man. He's head of the Raymond Foundation, which makes grants for all kinds of important studies.
Yes, I have heard so.
I'll ask him for the money. For a cause like this, he'll give it to us. I know it.
It would mean everything to us. But suppose he refuses?
He won't refuse. And if he does, I'll get the money from him somehow. I swear it. The next day, I hurried to Hollywood, where John had his home on top of the cliff that looks out over the beach and the ocean beyond. When I reached the house, old Charles, the gardener, told me that John had gone for a walk to his favorite spot, a high point on the cliff that looked far out across the ocean. I hurried there and found him alone, smoking and watching the sunset. Swiftly, I told him why I'd come. And to my amazement, he refused my request.
Gregory, my answer is emphatically no. I will not put up money for any such crackpot scheme.
But, John, you're head of the Raymond Foundation. Father left it millions to carry on research in every field of human welfare.
And you consider this wild notion of yours a field of human welfare?
Well, of course it is. Don't you understand? We're on the very verge of solving the greatest mystery of all, the mystery of death, and what follows it.
Indeed, Gregory.
But it's true. We only need a little more time and money.
Time and money.
And when we've succeeded, when we've definitely established communication with those who have left this sphere of existence, think what that will mean to the world.
Just what will it mean to the world?
Whoosh. It'll mean everything. Think of the comfort it'll give mankind, the peace of mind, the tranquility of soul that will result when we know what is to come, what our future life is to be like. Can't you see that?
No, I'm afraid I can't. Old-fashioned faith is good enough for me. Furthermore, there can never be such communication as you're dreaming of. It's impossible.
But it isn't. The Yogi Krishna has already achieved it.
Your yogi, my dear Gregory, is a fake. I've had him looked up. He's nothing but a trickster and a charlatan, running a nice little racket to get money out of deluded fools like you.
That's not true.
I tell you it is. While I live, the Raymond Foundation will never furnish a cent for this fantastic scheme.
No, John, you can't refuse me. You can't.
I do, Gregory. That's final.
I see. I'm sorry you said that, John.
What do you mean?
I see that there's only one thing that I can do.
What the devil are you getting at?
This project must not be allowed to fail. It means so much that the life of one man is a small price to pay for that success.
Well, what nonsense are you talking?
When you're dead, I shall become the head of the Raymond Foundation.
Gregory, get away from me. Take your hands off me.
No, John, you wouldn't listen to reason, so I have no alternative.
Gregory, let go of me. You're pushing me through the cliff, Gregory.
Believe me, John, I don't want to do this, but our studies cannot be allowed to fail.
Gregory, come to your senses. You're out of your mind.
You'll see, John, in just a moment. You'll know that I'm right. No! Far below me, John lay still. I felt a vast pity for him, but I had done the only thing possible. And I was sure that John, wherever he might be then, agreed with me. I returned to the house, broke the sad news that John had had an unfortunate accident, and wired for John's son and daughter, Jack and Susan, who were at college, to fly home at once. The next evening, Jack and Susan arrived, pale and upset. I took them into the library to explain the whole sad occurrence to them.
Uncle Gregory, you say that Father had a dizzy spell and fell over the cliff before you could catch him.
Yes, Jack. It happened so fast I could do nothing.
But Father never got dizzy. His health was perfect.
He was smoking a cigar, Susan. He complained that he felt a little unwell, and a moment later he staggered and was gone. I feel terribly about this, believe me.
You don't look very upset, Uncle Gregory.
Oh, but I am, Jack. But I know that wherever your father is now, he's happier by far than any of us.
Are you sure that's the reason you're so cheerful, Uncle Gregory?
Well, what do you mean by that?
She means the gardener tells a very different story.
The gardener? What's the gardener got to do with it?
He saw you and Father talking at the top of the cliff. He says you were arguing.
Arguing? Well, that's nonsense. I was just explaining to John my scheme for scientifically attacking the problem of communication with the next world.
Uncle Gregory, the gardener says he doesn't think Father fell.
Then what does he think?
He thinks he saw you push Father off the cliff.
That is utter nonsense. He saw me try to grab John as he was falling, that's all.
I wish I could believe that. But I can't.
Jack, you must. Uncle Gregory couldn't have pushed Father. It just isn't possible.
Of course not, Susan, and I'm glad that you at least realize
I'm
that.
not so sure. He seems awfully pleased about being head of the Raymond Foundation now.
Now listen to me, both of you. The coroner says that your father died accidentally, and that ends matters.
Not for me, it doesn't.
And just what do you think you're going to do, Jack?
I don't know yet. But I'm going to Dad's lawyers and have you declared incompetent to handle the Raymond Foundation.
I warn you, I'll brook no interference. I am head of the foundation, and from now on it will be run as I say.
Not if I can help it.
And the first thing I'm going to do is pour all the resources of the foundation into an institute for the study of death.
Uncle Gregory, you can't mean that. The foundation scientists are on the verge of a cure for cancer, for tuberculosis. You can't stop their work now.
I can and I will.
No, I'm certain you killed Dad. You killed him to get control of the foundation for your crazy schemes.
You get out. Get out. Both of you. Get out.
Jack, catch him.
He swung at me. He lost his balance. I couldn't catch him.
He's lying so still. He hit his head on the fireplace as he fell. It's bleeding. Jack, is he all right?
Just a minute and I'll see.
Jack bent over me. I had lost my temper and in trying to hit him had fallen. And now I lay on the floor, a great pain throbbing in my head and a strange darkness creeping up all around me. As Jack and Susan leaned over me, the darkness closed in and I felt myself drifting away into an unknown land. And just before the darkness became complete, I could hear their words.
Jack, how is he? He doesn't seem to be breathing. Is he dead?
Yes, Susan. All his life, Uncle Gregory's been trying to learn what happens when you die. Well, now, at last, he's going to find out.
How long I lay in vast dark nothingness, I do not know. But at long last, consciousness began to return to me. First, I realized that the sweet, cloying scent of flowers was heavy in my nostrils. Then I opened my eyes. I lay on a couch at one end of a great dim room with windows of stained glass, like a church. And then at the other end of the room, I saw 3 coffins. One of the coffins was banked with flowers, and candles burned at either end of it. Dazed and bewildered, I got to my feet and walked slowly toward them. I reached the side of the one covered with flowers and stared through the small glass plate at the man inside. And then I knew. The body in the coffin was mine.
Oh, you mustn't be so upset, mister. Most of us feel pretty startled at first.
Yes. Joshua and I were upset just as you are, but it will pass soon.
I whirled about and saw 2 dim figures coming toward me from the shadows. They were smiling, and I knew that they were trying to be helpful. Who are you?
I'm Joshua Brown. This is my wife, Nellie. Our bodies are in the other 2 coffins.
Your bodies? I don't understand.
Of course, you're still confused. That's only natural.
Look through the glass in this coffin. That's my body. There, you see?
Yes, it looks just like you.
Yes, of course it is me. The earthly me.
Well, then we're really dead, all 3 of us?
Of course. You died last night. You slipped and fell and hit your head.
Yes, I remember now.
It's taken you until now to become aware of things, to get over the shock.
But where am I?
This is the mortuary chapel of the cemetery. They'll be coming for you soon to prepare to bury you.
To bury me? No.
Oh, you mustn't be upset. Just to bury the mortal you, the empty shell you've left behind.
Yes. Nellie and I were killed 2 nights ago in an auto accident. But we won't be buried until tomorrow, when our son gets here.
But I never dreamed that it would be like this. Why, I can still see and hear. I still breathe. My heart still beats.
Not really. You're used to those things, so they let you think there hasn't been much change until you get over your first shock. They're very thoughtful.
They? Who do you mean?
the ones in charge. Oh, you'll know more about them soon. Mr. Benedict will be coming for us, and I expect he'll take you along, too.
Who's Mr. Benedict?
He's our guide. He stopped last night to tell us not to worry and to wait for him. He'll take us on to the next place.
Oh, shh. Someone's coming. We must get back here out of the way.
We stepped back a few paces as a door opened. 4 men entered, pushing a carriage on rubber-tired wheels. Behind them came Jack and Susan dressed in mourning. They advanced toward the coffin that held my mortal body.
All right, men, take it easy now. That's it. All lift together.
They lifted and placed the coffin on the wheeled carriage that they'd brought. And a sudden panic struck me, a sudden fear that made me cry out, "Jack! Susan! No, you mustn't. You can't bury me. I'm not dead. I can't be."
Oh, please, you mustn't give way. It's perfectly natural, really it is.
No, let go of me. I've got to make them understand that I'm not really dead. Let go of me. Jack! Susan!
Please, you mustn't distress yourself. You see, they can't hear you.
It was true. None of them so much as turned. The 4 men wheeled my coffin out. Jack and Susan followed, and the door closed. I was alone again with the Browns. They didn't hear me. They didn't pay any attention to me.
It was impossible for them to hear you. We cannot communicate with the living, nor they with us.
But it must be possible.
I'm sorry, but really it isn't. Mr. Benedict said so.
But all my life I've worked to establish such communication, and now I have so much to tell the world. The people that I've worked with, Yogi Krishna, I must tell them all this. I must reach them somehow.
Well, if it is possible, Mr. Benedict will tell you, I'm sure. Now, please, the only thing we can do is be quiet and wait for him.
Stunned, I sank into a chair. There was no doubt about it. I had died last night, and this was what came after. But I knew the Browns were wrong. There was some way to reach the ones that I'd left behind. I knew. The yogi had proved it to me. And so I waited for Mr. Benedict. I don't know how long it was, but suddenly a strange musical note sang in my ears. I looked up. A shaft of white light shone directly down into the center of the room, and in it stood a tall figure hidden in a flowing robe. The light winked out, and the figure strode toward us.
Are you ready, Mr. and Mrs. Brown?
Yes, Mr. Benedict. Oh, Mr. Raymond, this is Mr. Benedict. He's come for us now.
Yes, it is time. We must go.
But I can't go yet. I've got to tell people, the people that I've worked with. We've worked so hard to find out the truth, and now...
It may not be. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, it is time.
Sure, Mr. Benedict, we're ready. But Mr. Raymond is coming with us, isn't he?
He is not coming.
Not coming? But why, Mr. Benedict?
He is doomed to remain here on Earth for all eternity.
What do you mean? What are you saying?
This is your punishment. To remain forever a spirit that moves unseen and unheard among men.
But why is he being punished, Mr. Benedict?
He knows. That is sufficient. Now come, we must go.
No, wait. You've got to take me with you. But they didn't wait. They took a step, 2 steps, and were gone. Where they'd vanished, heavy curtains rustled against the wall. I rushed over to them and flung them back. There was no wall. I could see straight out into a peaceful cemetery, and across the green grass, Mr. Benedict and the Browns were walking away. I hurried after them, and something stopped me. An invisible barrier across my path, cold, unyielding, like glass. I beat against the invisible barrier with my hands. I cried out, and no one heard. No one noticed. And at last, exhausted, I ceased. Jack and Susan were slowly walking toward me. They came down a little path and stopped not 5 feet from me, yet they did not see me. And they were talking about me.
Well, it's all over, Susan. Uncle Greg and Father are both gone. We've got to face the fact.
I know, Jack, but do you think Uncle really did kill Father? I don't want to believe it.
Well, I guess we'll never know. But if he did, he's been punished for it.
Perhaps his punishment is worse than we can ever guess. Do you suppose that now, wherever he is, he's trying to tell the world what he knows?
Probably, Susan. But if only Gregory hadn't become such a fanatic on the subject, none of this would ever have happened.
They started to move away. And again I cried out to them, Jack, Susan, listen to me. You've got to hear me. You've got to. But they didn't turn. They didn't hear. They couldn't. They were alive. And I was dead. At last, despairing, I turned, and there was Mr. Benedict again, watching me, his deep-set eyes expressionless.
Gregory Raymond, do you believe at last? Are you convinced now that there can be no communication?
No, there must be. Yogi Krishna proved it to me.
He was a trickster, seeking money from you. The most heartless kind of trickster, preying on your hope.
I don't believe it.
You must resign yourself to the truth. We are not unkind. We do not wish you to be tormented unnecessarily. Come with me. I shall show you.
He took me by the hand and led me across the room. The door opened silently before we reached it and shut behind us as we passed through. We went down a corridor and came to a small room where a girl sat at a desk, typing. We entered, and she did not look up.
She is typing the necessary documents concerning your burial tomorrow, Gregory Raymond. Do you wish to speak to her?
Yes, I do. Young lady, listen to me. I'm Gregory Raymond, here standing beside you.
She does not hear you.
You don't have to answer me. Just stop typing. Anything to show that you know that I'm speaking to you.
You see? Now come, we shall try further.
We continued down the hallway, and we came to another room. In this one, a man sat. We paused in the doorway and watched him. He was telephoning.
Hello, obituary editor. This is the Stonefield Chapel calling. Will you run an announcement, please, saying that services for the late Gregory Raymond will be held Thursday at 4 o'clock? That is correct. From the chapel. Well, only the family will be present. Thank you.
You may try to speak to him if you wish.
My friend, can you hear me? Please, just look around.
Oh, hello, evening, ledger. The obituary editor, please.
Please, you must hear me. You must. I have to let the world know all that I've learned.
Oh, hello, obituary editor. This is the Stonefield Chapel calling. Will you take down an announcement, please? Oh, all right. Yes, I'll wait.
He cannot hear. But perhaps someone else may. We will try again if you wish.
Oh, yes, I do. Someone, somewhere will be able to hear me. We went on down the corridor, and another door opened before us. We stepped through onto green lawn. Mr. Benedict led me across it through a little gate and into a small cemetery that lay hushed in the shade of great trees. There 2 men were digging. We paused beside them.
Do you know what they're digging, Gregory Raymond?
Yes, a grave.
Your grave. Where your earthly body shall rest while you roam the world unseen, unheard.
Oh, no.
Speak to them. See if they can hear you.
I will. You 2 men, listen to me.
I'm Gregory Raymond. Do you hear?
They do not hear.
You've got to listen to me. Just give me some sign that you hear something. Just stop digging for a minute. Anything.
You see? They do not pause. Thus it must be always. Your punishment is to remain here on this earthly plane, a lonely soul without hope.
Oh, no. Oh, no, I couldn't bear that. Take me with you. I don't care what happens to me, but don't leave me here like this.
I'm sorry. It cannot be otherwise.
But what have I done? What am I being punished for?
You know. I do not need to tell you.
You mean because I killed my brother?
That is for you to say, not for me to judge.
I did. I did kill him. I pushed him off the cliff when he refused the money that I asked for.
Are you confessing to his murder, Gregory Raymond?
Yes, I am. I killed him. It was an impulse. I didn't plan to do it. But I'm sorry now. Punish me any way you want, only don't leave me here like this.
Very well, Gregory Raymond. You shall be punished. An earthly punishment according to the laws of men.
What do you mean?
You two, you can stop digging now. You heard Gregory Raymond confess to the murder of his brother?
We hit him all right, Lieutenant Benedict. We're sure glad it's over. These pickaxes are giving us blisters.
They heard us.
Yes, Mr. Raymond. Now you're under arrest for murder.
Under arrest? But that is impossible.
I'm afraid it is. You see, I'm Lieutenant Benedict of the Homicide Squad. You're not dead. You're very much alive.
No, I can't be. You're lying.
I'm afraid we played a little trick on you. Out here in Hollywood, we have some very good actors, and, well, you see, your nephew arranged the whole thing with actors, wax figures, and coffins, and weird atmosphere to see if we couldn't get a confession out of you.
No, I don't believe you.
He figured you had such a one-track mind on the subject of death. When you knocked yourself unconscious, he decided to try and convince you you'd killed yourself.
No.
Looks as though he succeeded better than we'd hoped. Now, will you come quietly, Mr. Raymond?
No. You can't arrest me. You can't arrest a dead man. And I'm dead. I know I am. I died last night.
This is the mysterious traveler again. Oh, you want to know whether Gregory really was dead or not? Well, it became a matter of some dispute. The doctors said he was alive, and he insisted he was dead. They argued back and forth, and neither side could convince the other. You know how it is when neither side will give in. To this day, nobody has convinced Gregory that he's really alive. It's probably the strangest punishment a man ever suffered. Which brings me to my story for next week, SOS. It's about three men who find themselves in the most dreadful predicament any man has... Oh, you have to get off here. I'm sorry. I'm sure we'll meet again. I take this same train every week at this same time.
You have just heard The Mysterious Traveler, played by Maurice Tarplin. Others in our cast were Brett Morrison, Eric Dressler, Bryna Rayburn, and Jack Curtis. All characters in this story were fictitious, and any resemblance to the names of actual persons was purely coincidental. Original music played by Milton Kay. Ray Fanenlo speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
That's our strange tale for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. You can find more from The Mysterious Traveler at relicradio.com alongside past episodes of Strange Tales, thousands of other old-time radio episodes, a shoutcast stream, and anything else we might have going on. It's all at the website. If you'd like to help support this and all of the shows, give that donate button a click or visit donate.relicradio.com for more information. Your support keeps this show coming every week. Thanks as always to those who have. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back next Sunday with another story on Relic Radio's Strange Tales.